What's up everybody? In this video, I'm going to teach you exactly how to buy your first piece of commercial real estate. So again, if you're a rookie and you don't know how to buy any pieces of property whatsoever, by the end of this video, you're going to be a freaking expert, my man. My name is Henry Eisenstein and I've done over $400 million worth of real estate transactions and I'm only 27. We're going to dive right into the video. So what's up everybody? My name is Henry and in this video, again, we're talking about how to buy your first piece of commercial real estate. And the very first thing that we got to talk about is, what does your vision look like? What is the purpose? Why did you want to buy your first piece of commercial real estate in the beginning? Like, why commercial real estate? So commercial real estate, to me, is the best freaking place in the world to put your money for a couple of reasons. Number one, the tax benefits. Number two, the cash flow, baby. Like, if you like Grant Cardone, which I got plenty of his books over there, that is the freaking place to put your money, right? Honestly, I just like being able to touch my investments. I'm not a crypto guy, I'm not a stock guy. I like to be able to touch my investments, right? So I like to be able to walk to it, look at it, be able to touch and feel it, right? Like, I love being able to do that. So when it comes to investments, I think that commercial real estate, it is just the freaking best thing in the entire world, right? Plus the fact that if you know what you're doing, it honestly could probably have the best returns of any type of investments possible. Now, don't get me wrong, you were one of those people who invested in a crypto stock, it went from zero to gajillions of dollars and you made $1 million. Congratulations, I'm not that kind of person, but if you want to learn how to really build wealth for sure, not get rich quick, but get rich for sure, commercial real estate is the place to put your money. Now that you know the why commercial real estate, let's dive into the why you. Like, why did you choose to buy commercial real estate? So you got to really understand like why commercial real estate is important to you to do, because it takes some time to get into this space. It takes some time to understand. It's going to take a lot of time, energy, and effort. It's going to take you some time. That being said, if you're not bought in, like 100% bought into buying commercial real estate or real estate in general, it might be difficult. It might come a point where you're like, honestly, I'm throwing in the towel. Like, you're going to feel that way. And if you're not feeling that way, honestly, I'm blown away because, look, I've felt that way 100 times. Like, it is exhausting and there's a lot of, look, it's not simple. Again, for those of you who are super interested in buying commercial real estate, the next thing we're going to talk about is the actual process of you not knowing anybody, knowing nothing, and then going out and buying your first piece of real estate. So now that we know the why commercial real estate, why you're doing it, the process. So all about the process. First and foremost, let's talk about the team you got to build. So the team you're going to need, you have a couple of key players. Like, we're building a sports team right now. In this model, you have to have star players. So what star players are you looking for? In this scenario, because you're buying commercial real estate, first and foremost, and probably most importantly, you're going to need a mortgage guy. You need to know how to get your money. Now, again, that can be kind of toying with a mortgage person who's going to get you your loan and the investor who's going to lend you the money for the deal. In my opinion, I think a mortgage person is going to be probably the most important piece of any part of this. Because if you don't have a mortgage person who understands how to get creative financing done on every commercial piece of real estate, because the financing is where everything happens, right? The magic happens, the deal is truly created with the financing. So you need to find a great person who understands financing. Even if they're super seasoned or not so seasoned, you can do really well, right? I'm not here to tell you that you need to find somebody who's been in the industry for 30 freaking years, because they might be a dinosaur and not do a lot of business. And when I say dinosaur, I mean like just a dinosaur in the ways of thinking. The point I'm trying to say here is that you need to understand somebody who really knows how to creatively look at every single deal, because it's not like one loan fits all when it comes to commercial real estate. When in residential, look, you might be able to just get a conventional mortgage on every single piece of property. It's one size fit all. The point is, when people think about residential, people think about like conventional mortgages or FHA loans. When it comes to commercial real estate, there's very intricate pieces that need to be moved, right? Because there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to a commercial loan. So every piece of the terms of the loan matter, every single aspect of it, okay? So yes, it obviously has a heavy weight to it, but again, if you need to know a bunch of key players, a bunch of powerhouses when it comes to mortgages in the commercial world. Also know that there's a lot of people who specializes in different types of commercial loans. So, whether it's a construction loan or different asset loans, right? So like whether you're doing mobile homes or you're doing multifamily or strip centers or office or warehouse or you name it, like there are people who specialize in each asset class. Yes, there are people who can do all of them. However, I'm telling you that the most important thing you would do here is that I would try to find people who specialize, who are brokers, okay? Ideally, I like brokers. I'm not a small bank kind of guy. However, I'm going to say caveat in a second, so hold on a quick sec before we start judging. What I'm going to say is that if you can find a broker who understands, multiple different facets of loans, okay? Not just at a banker. I believe bankers are good too, but I'm going to tell you why in a second. When you understand, because especially for your first deal, you might not have a ton of money with a, X bank. If you've got a ton of money in the bank right now, I would tell you to find a small commercial bank, a small bank locally that you can move some money into and you can start becoming a long-time client of theirs. That is a very smart move. You have a couple $1 million, quite a few $100,000, you can move it into a small bank, start banking with them, and they're going to be able to give you some favorable terms on a couple pieces of property. Again, listen, if you guys are loving this type of content and you want to be able to be coached by me, make sure you schedule a coaching call with me specifically and my team down in the description down below. If you do not have a couple $100,000 and you're just looking to buy your first deal, which listen, it's okay. Sounds great. Listen, that was me. Okay, I didn't have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars before I bought my first property. I focused on commercial mortgage brokers. Okay, they're not with some fancy bank. They're just like with a small mortgage brokerage. Again, I got a couple people, which by the way, if you're looking to get a great loan on a piece of commercial real estate, make sure you put a comment in the description down below saying that you're looking for hey, I need a mortgage lender. Make sure, and I'll connect you with my guys. I'm gonna take great care of you. Number 2 is a great attorney. You're gonna need a great attorney. Now listen, you can be all over the country. I personally love having commercial real estate attorneys. I'm a huge fan of it. A lot of people say that you don't need one. Do you need one? No. Do I recommend having one? Yes, I honestly and truthfully do. I think it's pretty important. Now listen, if you're super seasoned, you don't have to use an attorney. If you're brand new, get an attorney. I promise. Look, you're gonna spend a few $1,000s, but it's worth it. Every single one of my commercial transactions, I have a real estate attorney on it, okay? Next. We want to have a contractor. There's some contractors who like to try to say that they do everything. Some of them do, some of them don't. Some of them are just like GCs and they're going to have to hire out a bunch of subs. So you're going to also want to make sure you build some relationships with some subcontractors, your plumbers, your electricians, right? Like these types of people, whatever it is, like roofers, siding, right? People who do any type of X, Y, and Z type of work at a property, landscapers, whatever, okay? Masons. Like these are people that you're going to also want to know just in case your contractor's not moving fast enough and you could get the ball rolling without having to deal with them. Now, don't get me wrong. I happen to have the best contractor in the freaking world. I love him to death. He's the man. Sorry, he doesn't take any referrals. He's the freaking man, but again, he's super crazy busy and doesn't have more time to take on more clients. But God bless for him, right? Make sure you find a fantastic contractor. And now here's the thing. If they're a little bit more expensive, but they do great work and they're quick, that's okay. However, it's when they don't do fantastic work, they're not quick, and they cost a lot of money, that's where I draw the line. Spending a little bit extra money when it comes to contracting work or any type of renovations is okay if they do a great job and they're fast. However, if they're taking a long time, do not overpay for it. You're also gonna need to make sure you have a property manager. I meet a lot of people, I'm telling you right now, property managers for me have been the hardest thing to freaking find. Okay? And for your first property, you probably don't need a property manager. However, you're probably going to want to pay yourself some type of fee as the property manager since you're going to be that person. I definitely obviously recommend that you find somebody that you can eventually start referring things to. And the last person for your team, yes, investors. People who are going to be basically your money guys. So this is not a lender. This is somebody who's going to literally give you the down payment and the possible renovation money or the budget, right? They're going to come up with the cash for that type of thing, okay? So you're going to want to go out and find a bunch of people, which by the way, the easiest way to find investors is to find a great deal. Because if you find a great deal, people with money will come hollering. They're going to come running. Here's a cool thing. I'll even give you an example. By the way, people in my Millionaires Club have access to me and all my investor clients, right? And we got amazing opportunities there too. So again, if you want some opportunities of working with me and all my investor clients, make sure you click a link in the description down below. We would love to work together, okay? So again, you can schedule a call with me and my team anytime. So the opportunities here, if you find a fantastic, unbelievable deal, make sure you comment in the description down below or DM me on Instagram. It's probably the best way to reach out to me, okay? Because I love to do some business together. I like to do deals all over the country. Now, again, if you want access to me, you got to schedule a call with my team and I. Now that you got your why, and now that you understand the team you got to build, which again, like I told you, it's going to take some time to build all this kind of stuff. You're going to want to meet a bunch of them. You're not going to just want to go with the first person you meet. Number 3 is going to be about knowing your numbers. When it comes to knowing your numbers, the only way to truly get a good understanding of this is to do really one of two things. Run a lot of numbers, okay? Analyze a lot of deals is what I'm saying, okay? Analyze a ton of deals. Every deal you see on LoopNet, every deal you see on the MLS, every deal that you can find anywhere that you see them, analyze the deals. Just practice because you're going to want to know what to look for eventually. Listen, you're going to want to be able to know immediately what to look for when you find a fantastic deal. So what I am going to say is if you stay at the very end of the video, I'm going to give you a couple parameters that we look for in our investment deals. And number 4, walk a lot of properties. Yes, you're going to analyze a lot of deals from what you see online. However, nothing is going to give you a better experience than walking a ton of property. So anytime you see a piece of property, call the broker, say like, hey, I know I'm looking at this piece of property, love to schedule a tour. Let me know when you are available. You're not going to be able to look at properties probably worth $50 million, $100 million if you've never done a deal before, okay? Because they might ask you for a proof of funds or proof of whatever you've purchased in the past. You also can, if you're direct to seller, you can set up a meeting with the seller, and they might not be so crazy about pre-approving you prior to you even going to look at the deal. Point number 5: finding off-market deals. Now that you've analyzed a lot of deals and you've walked a lot of properties, You're probably wondering, because you've probably been finding a lot of this stuff on market, now it's about how to find off-market stuff. So I would recommend the following. The simplest way that you could possibly do it, and what I recommend for a lot of my coaching students, and I'm gonna give you a quick secret, is Reonomy. You can download a software called Reonomy. You can work side by side with a realtor who can give you access to CoStar, and you can find off-market properties that way. Because what you're gonna do is this. Through Reonomy or CoStar, which is really the only two softwares that I use, which are, combined is quite a few $1,000s a month, you're going to be able to pull data, the phone numbers, the emails, the addresses of basically any type of asset class that you want. You're going to then pull that information, you're going to export it into a CSV file, Excel file. You're then going to upload it into a software called mojosells.com, Mojo Dialer, right? And then you're going to call them. Okay, which by the way, if you're wondering what to say, you can download my script book down in the description down below. Just use the circle prospecting script. It's the same exact thing that people use in the residential world. You can use it for the commercial world. You're going to find an off-market deal. Make sure you negotiate a really fantastic price so when you upsell it to your buyer, it's still a fantastic deal and you're going to make a spread where the difference is what you make as a commission and or an assignment fee, okay? And or, because listen, if you can make money on the deals you don't buy, that's where you get super wealthy. Point number 6, we're talking about buying your first deal. So listen, now it's go time. You've analyzed the numbers, you think that everything makes sense, you've got your team together, it's time to pull the trigger finally, so congratulations, you probably bought your first property, that's freaking awesome. Now what I am going to say to you is this, your first property is going to set you up for your entire career. I've had numerous times where people, regardless of the financial background, okay, they could be super, super wealthy. I've seen super wealthy people do the same thing, and I've seen people who barely any money. And I've seen them find a way to buy a deal, whichever way they did it, whether they bought it themselves or raised capital, and the deal sucked because they didn't really know what they were doing, okay? The property wasn't a great property, wasn't a great deal, and they lost the itch. They lost the excitement for buying investment real estate because they bought a deal that they shouldn't have bought. So that's why I'm telling you, your first deal should always be an unbelievable deal, because what ends up happening is that if you buy your first deal and it's an unbelievable deal, you keep that itch going. You'll always relate back to your very first deal. We always do that, and I've seen this 100 times. You're always going to relate back to whatever your very first deal was. This is the last thing in the bonus tip that I'm going to give you right now, which is my criteria that I look for when I'm looking at property. Here's the thing. I look for only value add opportunities when it comes to real estate, which means that I'm buying it at a very large discount versus what it will be worth in the future once I increase rents, renovate the property, maybe find new tenants, increasing the value of the property. I find value add opportunities only because I can find the biggest multiplier of value or resale value or what it'll be worth to the bank. I want to have the biggest opportunity to basically create equity in a property. I'll give you an example. You're buying a property at, call it $1 million. You spend a couple $100,000 renovating it and re-renting out the property at higher values. Okay, and then that $1 million deal might be worth $2 million or $3 million or $4 million. Yes, if you're wondering if deals are out there that you can do that, where you can spend $500,000 and create $500,000 in equity, $1.5 million in equity, $2.5 million in equity. If you're wondering if they're out there, the answer is yes, right? And by the way, there's a lot of deals that you can add a zero to that, and there's a lot of money to be out there, right? That's why I love commercial real estate, because guess what? On $1 million deal, you might only have to put down, I'll call it 25 or 30%. $300,000 will buy you $1 million deal. Just to kind of give you an understanding, most of my investors that are working with me are making anywhere between 40 and 100% annualized returns. 40 and 100% annualized returns. And by the way, if you're wondering how I do that, make sure you schedule a call with my team and myself by clicking the link in the description down below and possibly joining the Millionaires Club with me, right? Because listen, creating $1 million in net worth, creating $1 million a year income, this stuff sounds overly complicated because of all the other stuff that you're probably hearing from all around the world, right? All the gurus who think they know what they're talking about, but it's not overly complicated to have that kind of income. Very simplistic things to do in order to achieve it, and if you just know what those simplistic steps are and you just follow it, it's not too complicated, I assure you. So that's why you should be scheduling a call with me down in the description down below. Everything I just told you is literally exactly what I do in order to to buy the millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of real estate that I own and the properties that I will own in the future, right? I'm just following the same exact process, and I've gotten really, really good at finding off-market opportunities, negotiating the deal to the best possible price possible, and then guess what? If it makes sense for me, I'll buy it. That's the first step. Number 2, if it doesn't make sense for me, I'll find a way to sell it to an investor. I'll make a spread. And if it doesn't make sense to sell it to an investor at a spread because there's not really a lot of spread, I'll list the property for sale. So it's like I'm making money at no matter what the opportunity is, okay? And by the way, if it's a super high value and they really don't want to sell it, then guess what? And then what you can figure out a way to do here is that what you can do is that person might not be a seller, but they might be a buyer, and you can find other opportunities for them to buy. Every single person you speak to is a possible opportunity for you to make some money. So listen, that's for another video, but just figure I'd throw it in there as a bonus tip, guys. I love you so very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.